Hey, so a lot of you have been asking about my skincare routine. Joke. It's an overly used joke. I'm sorry. I should get a new joke. I'm doing this video. I feel like I'm gonna throw up, which is so stupid because I'm like doing this and I can easily just not post it, yet I'm sitting here wanting to throw up. Besides the point, I wanted to do a video about my testimony, and maybe some of you have left now. I've been wanting to do it. I've just kind of been putting it off. I feel like I'm just gonna butcher it and then it'll just be like pointless. I'm gonna try. And I'm gonna try and condense it. And if you know me, which a lot of you do, you know that that's an extreme sport for me. Like, I don't know how to make a long story short at all. I accept it. This is who I am. This is who God made me to be. So here we go. Oh, I'm really good at this. I should have my own YouTube channel. So to start from the beginning, the reason why I wanted to share my testimony, it's very basic in the sense of like, you don't have to have this crazy experience to experience Christ. And that's not how it happened for me. And so I was born and raised in a Christian home, and I never like really fell away per se. As you guys know, like I'm, or maybe you don't know, now you know, I'm still a virgin. I'm 28 years old and I'm saving myself for marriage. When I say fell away, I don't mean like, oh, I got into drugs. Oh, I was having sex with a bunch of people. But like, I was going out a lot. I was partying a lot. And I hooked up with boys and I didn't see anything wrong with it. Now looking back, I started journaling when I was, I think like 20 or 21. So I have journaled literally everything in my 20s, which is amazing. I highly recommend if you are not journaling. I know it's kind of like annoying kind of thing to do sometimes, but like it makes a world of difference. Anyway, so I go back and I read those journal entries and I'm just like, holy crap, I thought I knew what it was like to be a Christian. And I was just so far from it, which is so okay and so normal because we all suck. With that being said, from a very young age, I've always had a boyfriend. And this is like where my core story is. So I've always had a boyfriend. Like literally, I kissed a boy. I still remember his name. His name was Ryan in preschool under a tree. Legit story. This is how much I love kissing boys. Sorry, mom and dad, but I do. But yeah, I kissed him when I was in preschool. He ran away from me. I think I scared him. I mean, I should have looked at that and known that that was the preface of my life from then on. Like I always had that other person to make me think I was whole. I had a boyfriend, like serious boyfriends, like starting in high school when I was 14, 15, was with him for I think like 2.5 years or something. And then we broke up, and then I was with another guy for like 4 years, and both were not Christians. Both encouraged me to do what I wanted. One came to church with me every Sunday, and we even did a Bible study together and like this whole thing, but none like really like walk the walk. I'm just giving you that information because it's important. So my entire life, my mom was always like, you need to be equally yoked. You need to be equally yoked. You need to date someone who believes in what you believe. Word vomit. And I was just like, yeah. Sure, mom. Like, whatever. Of course, let me tell you now, moms are always right. It's really annoying. It's super annoying, but they are. And mine was. When I turned 21, that's when I like went to Vegas for the first time for my 21st birthday. And that's when I like started going out and like meeting boys and, the whole 9 yards. None of them knew Jesus. None of them, which is all good. Until there was one. And I met him on a dating app and he professed to be a Christian. It was the first time I had ever dated somebody that like I could actually talk about my faith and they would understand. Do you know what I mean? I'm like talking to you like, do you know what I mean? Maybe you're saying, I know what you mean. That's rad. Cool. I remember our first date and he like turned to me and was like, so do you ever just, dive into the word? And I remember I was like, come again. What was the question? I think I blocked out. Cut two. And didn't work out. Thank you, Jesus. And it destroyed me. I look back at those journals and oh my gosh, I was pathetic. The things that we think are so important are so little. So little. The reason I bring that up is because that was the first taste I ever got, taste, if you will, if there's another better word, I don't know, but taste of a guy that was a Christian, a guy that believed in the same things that I believed. And I was like, whoa, I get it now. Why all those years my mom was like, be equally yoked, because it makes a difference. Because I remember sometimes talking about my faith to other people that, you know, just weren't on the same level or didn't understand. And that's, again, fine. And you just kind of feel empty. Like you kind of feel like when they come back, you're just kind of like, oh, that didn't really give me what I needed. Again, looking to that person to fulfill you for what you needed. Hi, I did that all the time. So from 21 to about 26, I was just like, I need a husband. I need to be married. Oh my gosh, this needs to happen now. I remember when I went through my final breakup, because I haven't dated anybody in 7 years, 8 years, something. Like really seriously dated somebody for like a long period of time. I remember thinking like, oh, I won't be single for that long. It'll be fine. Because God was like, that's funny. You're not gonna be single for that long? Okay. 7 years later. But I remember thinking that. I have like a really small friend group. There's about like 6 of us that are like my best friends. Every single one of them, if you did not know this already, is either married, engaged, or in a relationship. Everyone, all 6 of them. Even my sister, if I'm including my sister. So I'm the only one that's still single, which I hated. Like, hated for so many years because I like didn't have that person, and I was like, I need that person. That's what's gonna make me feel happy and whole, and life will start, and that's when life is worth living. And like literally, I'm being dramatic, but that's how dramatic I am in real life. Basically, leading up to all of this, I always professed I was a Christian. I remember one time my little brother asked me like, Kenzie, like, what's your testimony? We were on the beach, and I was like, oh, I don't really have one. Like, I've just kind of like always known God, and, you know, it's always been great, and da-da-da-da. And Mason, my brother, was kind of just like, really? Like, you don't have anything? Nothing? Like, no. And he thought that was weird. And at the time, I didn't think it was that weird. This is normal. This is what normal people do. You just know God, and this is it. Wrongo. Not wrongo. Wrongo now in my life because of what I went through. When I was 26, I met this guy. And I met him through Instagram, which is like crazy because I got off of apps. And then of course I meet this guy through Instagram. One of my friends, acquaintances, randomly found him and was like, here you go. I found your husband. You're welcome. I remember getting the DM and I was just like, what the frick? And I opened it. This guy was cute. Very much loved Jesus. Like it wasn't like a show. It was everywhere on his Instagram. He could sing. What? I remember DMing the girl back, where did you find this? Like, where did you find this? Where did you find this guy? And she's like, girl, call it what you will, maybe Jesus, but like, here you go. Cut to, we started somehow talking on Instagram. Little things here and there. He didn't live in Southern California. He lived elsewhere, which is another reason why I was like, this is cool and everything, but you're far away. So he DM'd me and was like, hey, I'm coming down to Southern California. We should get together. And I was just kind of like, I thought I made it super hard. And I was like, oh, like this is the only day I'd be able to do it. It'd have to be around this time because I work at this time and da-da-da-da. And then you'd have to come to me. And he was like, yep, cool. I'll make it work. All right, whatever. So he comes, ended up talking for like 3 hours about, which is important, Christ and about life. All the things that I could talk for hours about with like a girlfriend, a family member, I talked to this complete stranger about. Then he left and that was it. Like that was the only time I ever saw him in person. I remember him leaving and I was just like, and then I had like a panic attack because I was talking to my ex and then this guy came along. And if you also know me, I can't do the whole like dating more than one guy at once. It's not possible. It's just not a thing. I can't do this one at a time. So that's what I was feeling. I started talking to this guy and I started literally falling head over heels over texting, over videos, over FaceTime, over never even like kissing the guy, never even, I hugged him once. It was like this weird like emotional thing. All I kept seeing, all I was focusing on was him. Because like he was everything I had ever like even like prayed for in a guy. Like it was like weird, like little small things. It was weird. I was like, what? Okay, God, relax. I could never be still and be like, wow, thank you, God, for bringing me this person. Like, thank you for this. Thank you for that. In fact, I did the exact opposite. And I blamed God, and I was like, why would you give me a person that lives this miles away, and like I can't even be with him? I felt like God was continuing to punish me. I remember having a FaceTime conversation with this person as well, and I told him that, like, I felt like God is punishing me. And I remember him looking at me and being like, that is not the God we serve. We serve a good God. He wants the best for you. I couldn't hear him. It was like I had earmuffs on for like the past 6 years, and everything someone told me, I was just like, and I wanted to believe what I wanted to believe, and I wanted to think I needed to be miserable, and I was going to be alone forever, and now I've been given this guy, and I'm still going to be alone forever. I literally was the most miserable person sometimes. I get to this point where I'm just like, all right, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go up there, and I'm going to visit him, and it's either going to work or it's not. Didn't really give him a choice. Went up there, spent more than a few days up there. And, you know, if I'm being honest, probably fell even more head over heels. Had a conversation, and it wasn't what he wanted. To put it lightly. And I was like, all right, then I'm done. Because I'm 26, I know what I want, and I know that I don't want to be your friend. I was like, I have enough friends. I don't need more friends. And I don't need a friend that's a guy that's hot, that I think is hot. You know what I mean? So I left. For the first time ever, I came home. And I call it the Holy Spirit, call it whatever you want to call it. And I was just like, something needs to change. Something needs to change. I'm over the exact same thing happening every single time. Boy meets girl, girl meets boy, girl doesn't care, boy cares, girl falls for boy, then boy doesn't care, then girl gets her heart broken because she so desperately wanted to be with a person. Every single dating experience I had led to that every single time. And that's because I was searching for a person for 6 years to make me whole, to give me a life worth living, instead of looking towards a father, a God, a savior that could very well fill me and make me whole. So when I got home, something clicked. I can't keep having this same outcome. It's literally crushing my heart because I keep getting heartbroken, and then I like hold on for so long, and then it's just torture, you know? You might be like, oh, it's dramatic. Well, whatever. You get your heart broken, then tell me how you feel. Okay. I was going to a Bible study every week, and I had a small group of people that were at my church, and I went to my pastor, Dylan. I want to read. I don't know how to read. Please help me. Like, where do I read? What do I read? How much do I read? Like, was so flustered about it. And he was just kind of like, read John. Just start in John and read what you can. I dig into them. And I was like, okay, cool. And so I had a lot of time on my hands, kind of like we all have right now in this time in our lives of quarantine. So I started reading my Bible every day, every single day. Just started reading it, and everything was like making sense for the first time ever. I've read the Bible before when I was younger, and like nothing made sense, nothing. I came across a chapter in John, and it was talking about when Jesus and John the Baptist were baptizing people. In the passage was the word jealous. And so I picked out that verse that had the word jealous in it. I started to write about it. You know, I was writing about like jealousy is such a exhausting and wasteful emotion and feeling that we all feel every day, whether it's I was jealous of my friends for getting married, jealous because they have a person and I don't, jealous because their careers were taking off. And all of a sudden, the song that I've heard a billion times over by David Crowder, it's called How He, loves. And the very first line in that song is, "He is jealous for me." And that song just started to play in my head. And it was like, "He is jealous for me, love's like a hurricane, and I am a tree bending beneath the weight of his wind and mercy." And that was like the big chunk that was like in my head. This is my moment. This is my moment. A light bulb went off in my head. Holy crap. He is jealous for me. God is not jealous the same way that we are jealous. We're jealous because we're envious and we're needy and we want, because that's human nature. But God is jealous in the sense of like, he loves us so much. When we don't know him, when we don't want to know him, it breaks his heart. And he's jealous of the things that we look towards instead of looking towards him. And it's not a jealous where it's like gross and human jealous. It's God, and he's like, he is jealous for you. He loves you, and he just wants you to focus on him. Because when we focus, really like blinders, focus on the God of the universe, you literally get this mindset where like anything is possible. And anything is possible because like he's leading you. And all of this started filtering through my head. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've missed the point. I've missed it completely. Like, holy crap, whoa. Forgot to say, after I journal and everything, I sit there and I pray out loud. I have to pray out loud because if I pray in my head, I get lost. I came through all this while I was praying, so my journal was already closed. So I opened I flipped it, I flipped it to a page in which I thought it was the last page that I wrote on, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna write these lyrics of this first verse on this page that I finished my quiet time on. Wrote it all down, wasn't paying attention, closed it. I was so on fire. I called my friend McKenna and I was like, oh my gosh, McKenna, like, this just happened. Yeah, I have to read you this verse of lyrics that just like flashed through my mind with this. And so I opened my book up to the page where I finished my devotional and the lyrics weren't there. Huh? Say what? I literally just wrote them down. Like, what? They were right here. So I start flipping through my journal. So I flip. I finally find them. These lyrics are underneath a journal entry that I wrote right before I went to go visit this guy. In the last part of the journal entry, I was like, I need to give my heart not to insert guy's name here, but to the Lord, because the Lord knows exactly what I need, exactly what I want, and he's going to fulfill that. I wrote something along those lines, which is so pathetic because I knew exactly what I needed to do, yet my human nature got in the way and made me, and maybe it was the enemy, who freaking knows, but it made me think that I didn't need the Lord right when I stepped off that plane. How does that make sense? It's unclear to me, but I wrote it. So these words of this verse was written underneath that journal entry, that specific journal entry, those specific words that I already knew in my heart. He had already placed those in my heart, yet I never wanted to listen. And I never wanted him to reveal himself to me because I thought he already had, and I thought I knew everything. I thought I knew what I wanted, and I didn't need his help, him as in Jesus. And I was like, and that was another like, where I literally felt, and this is not me, like I've never been this person where I'm like, I hear God was telling me, I felt God's presence. Like I've never been that person. I need you to understand that. This like weird, like that surpasses all understanding, which is what it says in the Bible, this peace, this all-knowingness of like, whoa, you are here right now. Whoa, you are opening my eyes. Whoa, you want to change me. Holy crap, I've been missing the point this entire time. I surrender. Like right in that moment, that's what I did. I was like, I surrender. You're real. you're real, and I give it to you. Because before that, mainly in my 20s, when I kind of like was looking for like a new church for me, I remember going to church and I remember listening, true story, listening to my pastor Brian, who is still my pastor to this day, listening to him say something in his sermon around like, we need to give every aspect of our life over to Christ. We need to give every minute and every day over to Christ, because that is how we will get through our days. And I remember having the thoughts of like, every minute, every day, everything. And then I would, like any other person, have doubts. And I was like, are you real? I think you're real. I mean, I know you, all I know is you. So like, you have to be real, right? Like, right? Like doubting, right? And so in this moment, that was the first moment where, not a doubt in my mind, I was like, he's real. And so then after that, I kind of rededicated, I guess you can say, rededicated my life to Christ. And I started just diving in. I started reading the Bible. I started listening to sermons. I started really, really filling my time and my life with the Lord. Anything that had to do with Christ, I was all about it. I was like, yep, I'm tuning into that. Yep, I'm going to watch that. Yep, I'm going to listen to that. Like everything. And I learned so much. And one of the biggest lessons I learned was we can't look to boys. If you're a boy and you're watching this, wow, what's up, man? To girls, to fulfill us, to make us feel whole. We can't look to Instagram to make us feel like we have worth. You have worth, and that's in your Creator, who is God, who is freaking Jesus of the universe, that like walked on this earth, that picked up his cross, that should have been our cross, and died on it for us. Like, he didn't have to do that, and he did, because we serve a good God. We don't serve this God that is angry with us, ashamed of us. The God that I believed in for a good solid 6 straight years, that he was angry and he was punishing me because of I hooked up with boys, I went out and partied, I did all the things that weren't Christ-like, I guess you can say, and he was punishing me for that. And it's just so the opposite. The reason why I had to tell you the story about the boy was, that boy made me realize that I don't want to date anyone that's not a Christian. It has everything to do with we don't rely on one another. Instead, it's me, it's another person, it's Christ, and we rely on Christ, which then creates our foundation, which then makes us so much stronger and better as a couple. And I think he placed me in him in my life, because without me going and visiting him and hearing the words, no, I don't want to date you. I don't want this to go any further. Him saying no made me say yes to Jesus. And I remember talking to one of my best friends on the beach again. Best conversations happen on the beach, just letting you know. Her name's Bree. You might know her. And it was still in the time where I was trying to get over him. I was trying to understand, why was he put in my life? She was like, Ken's like, it's crazy enough, but he could have been placed in your life as a vessel. He could have been placed in your life just so you could find Christ. And at that time, I was like, no way. There's no way we serve a big enough God to use something, and this something was a boy and not just any boy, but a boy that had every single thing I wanted in a husband. And he used that just to get my attention. That was it. It's really hard for my little puny human brain to wrap my head around that, but it's true. And he just used him because that boy is now on to other things. Him going on to those other things has helped me realize and has given me that answer. Like, whoa, he was just there to point me to you. It had nothing to do with him. I've posted a lot about how God uses the one thing that we hold so close and so dear. He uses that one thing to get our attention. And for me, it was a relationship, a husband. It was that I was like, no, God, like, no, like I can do this. I don't need you. I can do this because I know what I want. I know everything. Me. And he was like, all right, here you go. Show me how that goes for you. And in the end, I turned around and started sprinting towards Christ because I was like, yep, you're right. And it's so cool because he's not a God that's like, I told you so. Tapping his foot. I'm tapping my foot on the floor. I told you so. Should have listened to me in the first place. Like, he's not that God. And if you have that viewpoint of him like that, ask him to like just wipe it away and ask him to reveal his true self to you. And also, the way he reveals his true self is by reading his word. You don't and cannot know who God, who Jesus was and is without reading the Bible. And I have been told that since I was, yee-high. And I never understood it. And I was like, it's fine. I'll just go to church. You need to go to church every Sunday. No. It's sitting down and learning about who he is. There's just been a lot. And I started viewing my relationship with Jesus the same way that I view my relationship with my best friends. Same way I view my relationship with a person, a non-existent person. But like if I had a relationship with a person, like this is how I would view it. If you were in a relationship with someone, maybe you have a spouse, maybe you have a boyfriend, and that boyfriend is giving you 100% of himself all the time. He's always there. He's willing to talk to you. He's willing to listen. 100%. And you are giving him maybe 40, maybe. Does that look like a relationship to you? I hope you said no. If you said yes, we have a bit of a bigger problem. That's not the way a relationship is. And that's the way I started viewing my relationship with Christ. He was giving 100% of himself. He was always there. He's always there. Even when you don't think he's there, he's there. He's there. And so I was like, holy crap. I need to strive. I know I'm going to fall short because I'm a human, but I need to strive to give 100% of my life and myself to Jesus, because that's when it's a relationship. It's not a relationship when you think you know God. You pray, and you pray when you need something. To know who he is to know his word, point blank, because that's where you learn that he's not a God that punishes. He's not a God that is angry with his children. That's where you learn that he's a God that loves you, that he's a God that cares for you and wants the best for you. He wants us to thrive in this place that we are in right now and to thrive in his name. Maybe you're looking for that person. Maybe you're trying to fill your spirit in your life with another person or a thing or a career or insert whatever it is that you are striving for instead of striving for Jesus. And I'm here to tell you, it's exhausting. And there is so much freedom in knowing him and trusting in him and surrendering your life to him. But once you realize that when you have your mindset on the kingdom, gosh, just so many things just don't matter anymore. And it's so freeing. And I'm not to say that I still don't want that, because I do. One of my biggest desires is to be married and to fall in love, to build a life with someone built around Christ. I dream about it all the time. I can't wait for it to happen, but it's a different waiting. I'm waiting on him. I know that his timing is so much better than mine, and he has proven that time and time again in my life. I just know that when it will happen, it's gonna be so awesome, and I can't wait. Something that my pastor's wife Karen told me: if you're meant to be with a person at a very young age, which a lot of my friends are, that's because you and that person, if you guys are Christians, were meant to do more for his kingdom than you could have done separately, alone. And if you're not meant to be with a person at a very young age, or you're still single, that means that you were meant to do more for his kingdom alone than you could have ever done in this time of your life with another person. And that I've held on to ever since she's told me it. I think it's been like a year, but it was like, because if you think back personally for you to all of the previous maybe relationships that you've been in, or all of the previous people you've dated, for me, not one of those would have brought glory to his kingdom. Not one. Other than the last guy that started this whole craziness. But not one. If anything, I probably would have stayed right where I was in my rut. And by the grace of God, he had other plans for me. And to this day, I am still so thankful that he didn't give up on me, that he was patient with me, and he's changed my life. Yeah. And so I hope that encourages you in wherever you are in your walk. Are you living your life to give glory to his kingdom day in and day out? Or are you giving glory to yourself? But for the most part, that is my story. He's not far. Read your Bible. And as much as you don't want to read it, I promise it'll make a difference in your life. Do I still have days where I feel completely single and alone? 100%. Just had one, and I was not great. And did I want to read my Bible? No. Did I read my Bible? Yes. Did I feel better afterwards? Yes. There is a way to be excited about this life that you've been given without getting this, without this material thing, without this person, without this job. I really hope that maybe you watch this whole thing. I'm sorry. I told you I can't make a long story short. Yeah, I'm not a pastor. I didn't go to school for this. I'm just a regular 28-year-old girl that has been changed for the better, and that just wants to live a life given to Christ. And I hope, my hope and my prayer is that you can see what he's done in my life and you can believe that he can do the same in yours. My pastor said the other week, can you imagine how great your life would be if you actually wholeheartedly believed that God could give you more than you could ever ask for and ever imagine? Could you imagine? It's freeing. And it's something that we have to practice every second of every day, but it's worth it. Oh, it's so freaking worth it. Yeah, I'm just gonna stop. God bless. Mwah.